Member of Castry Central, before I ask you to resume, respect is not just said, Respect is acted. You don't respect me and disrespect the chair. When I sit here, we are one and the same. If you respect me, you can disagree with my rulings, but you must accept my rulings. The standing orders are very clear and unambiguous. You do not speak when I'm speaking. Nobody does. Not just you. No one of the 17 speaks when I speak. I have attempted to guide this House with the greatest degree of flexibility. But I will not tolerate disrespect from any member, bar none. Please proceed, Member for Castry Central.
Thank you much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sometimes when any session is the subject matter of a brick, some people seem to forget what the point that was being made was. But essentially, Mr. Speaker, the leader of the opposition, member for Miku South, he basically accused the government of betrayal and deceit and mismanagement. And I want to remind him, Mr. Speaker, of many of his deceitful utterances, like the 23 islands, like the 800 deportees, which was an untruth. The $1.5 billion is in investment soon after his coming. After that, he said he never said that. The bananas to Matnik and France as soon as he won. And so much so he had an FAR 15. Where's that FAR, by the way? Minister, where's that FAR? Isn't that the property of the government of St. Lucia? And as my friend says, not even Pamempoa quality plati. So the deceits are sporadic, Mr. Speaker. 680 levy. When I sign the document, gas will go down. Grenada, the $10, cladding on the building. We could go on and on, Mr. Speaker. But insofar as mismanagement is concerned, I want to go back, Mr. Speaker, to the diamond. Mr. Speaker, I have made the deed of sale a document of the house. The house is in possession of this deed of sale that makes reference to absolutely nothing. The deed of sale says that Amazona Properties is selling the mall for $5 million US or 13.5 million EC dollars. In addition to that, Mr. Speaker, having sold the mall for less than quarter of the value, Masav Kimun Kinyo Boli de Kikaifesa, he enters a lease agreement, Mr. Speaker, for 16 and a half years to rent that very mall for over $1 million a month. A month. It fluctuates, Mr. Speaker. Over $1 million a month. Boble di san Creole. Nou teni mol nou te achete le mam pou Castrinot, c'était premier ministre. Nous dépensé about $52 million à le mol là.
Member from Miku South.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker. Given that the document is a document of the House, I would love to see the document where the document makes no reference to a development agreement. The second thing is, Mr. Member, the member says that the repayment terms are $1 million a month or thereabout. And in fact, that's not true. Okay? It's $4 a square foot, 77,000 square feet, 380,000 or 350,000 EC dollars, Mr. Speaker. So that's a blatant attempt to deceive the people of this country on a fact. So I have no problems, Mr. Speaker, as we've done in the past. We want to pause and bring back up the document of the House so we can see that the document does make reference to the development agreement. And the fact is that the lease agreement is $350,000 a month, Mr. Speaker, not $1 million, Mr. Speaker.
Please proceed, Member for Cassis.
I will, Mr. Speaker, because he speaks of the 2 floors. But he conveniently forgets, Mr. Speaker, that there is substantial expenditure in relation to the rental of the Supreme Court and the purchase of furniture thereof. So when I speak, Mr. Speaker, I can tell you I speak from a standpoint of knowledge. But the question is, Mr. Speaker, why own an asset, sell it for less than 25% of its value, turn around and lease it for 16 and a half years? And more so, there are fluctuating costs within the lease agreement which could not have been enumerated at the time because we would not have known what the cost of electricity would have been, what the cost of water would have been. All of those are in the lease agreement. They fluctuate on a month-to-month basis. So what the member for Miku South is saying there is to save his soul. That will not save his soul. But my point is, Mr. Speaker, if we talk about mismanagement, sase akodi uhani okai, ubati kaila, kaila sesa uvan kaila abapwi, kaila vo yosa $1,000, uvani pou $25,000, ek ainwe pou 16 l'année et demi. Why? Why? And talk about mismanagement. Mismanagement, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, NIC was in the preparatory stages of buying the lands that Cabot bought. So much so they had done a valuation for the land, Mr. Speaker. And if it is owned by NIC, it is owned by the people of this country. What did this Prime Minister do? What happened under his watch? What happened? Rather than NIC being the purchaser, NIC ended up as a lender. As a lender, Mr. Speaker. Because instructions were given to lend a foreigner the very money so that Cabot can buy the land. And today, Mr. Speaker, the Cabot development is like you need a visa as a St. Lucian to go there. Those are the realities. Talk about mismanagement, pensioners' money, giving foreigners our pensioners money to make profit. Mismanagement. Mr. Speaker, the Cayman Group Cayman Group. Under the administration, when the member for Viewfort South was Prime Minister, there was a transition team. A transition team that was put in place, paying them peanuts. When I say peanuts, relatively speaking, Mr. Speaker, to put in everything in place to move from Victoria to OKU. When this man became Prime Minister, the member for Miku South, he cut it out, Mr. Speaker, and he brought in the Cayman Group, and he was paying them $2 million a month. We had to come in this house. This honorable Prime Minister had to table the motion to borrow $24 million to pay the Cayman Group, when we already had some astute expertise from St. Lucia to do it. But no, that wasn't good for him. Bring in foreigners. Our budget, Mr. Speaker, never before, and you talk about mismanagement, never before, from the time we know ourselves, from the time there was universal adult suffrage, Mr. Speaker, has any Prime Minister sourced outside help in preparation of the budget? Never. But guess what? He came in. Locals are no good for me. Whoosh! Ernst & Young, foreigners come in. And in the first 3 years, Mr. Speaker, he came here and he said, we're just paying them about 1% of the budget. It sounds small. 1% sounds small, Mr. Speaker. But 1% of 1.5 billion is what? 15 million. And so, Mr. Speaker, he kept them for 3.
Member for Miku South.
Again, Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, the member is misleading the House. No Ernst & Young was ever paid any $15 million or paid anything 1% of the total budget.
You care to say what they were paid?
Sorry?
Could you put on the record what they were paid? So
the members know, it's in the budget. He would know. I'm not in government right now. He would know. Believe him. But the fact is, I can tell you, it was never any deal negotiated to be 1%. Nothing of the sort, Mr. Speaker.
Member, I appreciate my difficulty. You are asking me to ask him to withdraw a figure when I don't know what the figure is supposed to be.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I can tell you that I was the former Minister of Finance at the time.
But I was not the Speaker at the time.
Then, Mr. Speaker, I'll ask him to produce the contract to show that that's what it was, Mr. Speaker. Show it. You're in government, Mr. Speaker. That's an expectation is not from the opposition. You know that, Mr. Speaker. You know what the rules are. It's an expectation if he's going to make a statement like that, he must substantiate it. I'm telling you that that is not a truth. That's not a factual statement, Mr. Speaker. And if, in fact, he wants to hold on to that statement, what I would have loved the Speaker to do is to ask him to produce the contract, because he's in government. We'll get the contract. Simple thing to resolve, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, we'll withdraw the statement.
So, member of Castries Central, we all know what the rules are, that the maker of a statement, especially on the government side, has to be put to the proof of that statement. So you shall at the next sitting.
Mr. Speaker, I will provide a clip where he uttered, he said that they are paying contract now. He said, and I will expose it for the whole world to see. He said, Mr. Speaker, the amount would fluctuate based on the budget.
Fair enough, member, but you will
he made reference to the 1%.
Yes, but
and I could play this clip in the Honorable House. Yes. I will play this clip in the Honorable House. Those are his words. I was being hypothetical, Mr. Speaker, when I said 1% of 1.5 billion is 15 million. But my point is, and most times it was higher, my point is, if you accumulate his budgets over the first 3 years, that would be roughly, Mr. Speaker, about 5 million. About 5 billion, sorry. Which would mean 1% is 50 million. And the 1% to which I make reference came from his mouth. You asking me for contract, I will make the clip available.
Member, but you are responding to the leader of the opposition.
Sorry,
and
Mr.
not
Speaker.
To my request.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I'll make the clip available. So, Mr. Speaker, the clip will be made available where he made reference to the 1%. So, Mr. Speaker, after Mr. Speaker, yeah, shifting the goalpost. Mr. Speaker, let me say this. So, you had our civil servants from time immemorial preparing budgetary estimates, Mr. Speaker. They were not good enough for you, just like those that were moving from Victoria to OKU. They were not good enough for you. You brought in the Cayman Group. 24 million for 2 years. 2 million a month. 2 million a month. Then you take
24 million over 2 years is 1 million a month.
A million.
Yeah.
Well, it's over a year. It was a year. 2 years. When it's a million a month. I stand corrected. 24 million for 2 months. I stand corrected, Mr. $1 million a month. How dare you do that to the people of this country and later turn around and talk about mismanagement? That is my grouse, Mr. Speaker. That is my difficulty. How can one fathom this man talking about mismanagement when all those egregious financial deeds happen at your hands? And we had to come here, Mr. Speaker. You were presiding when we borrowed $24 million to pay the Cayman Group. So after he did the Diamond, he did Cabot with the pensioners' money. He did Ernst & Young, Mr. Speaker. Then, Mr. Speaker, Permandu, $13 million for Permandu. For what? Lockerbie, $32 million. To do what? What did Lockerbie do for us to justify? But Mr. Speaker, I had realized from day one, and that is why from the time the leader of the opposition was elected as leader of the United Workers' Party, I said I don't want to associate. Because he was Minister of Tourism. You are Minister of Tourism. But rather than doing your job, you bring Heppel. You bring Heppel. Paying Heppel. Mr. Speaker, those financial injustices, and that is why people will say that the country is doing well, because we have a manager who doesn't waste resources. Then, Mr. Speaker, you take $7 million. $7 million for vaccines we never received. And you talk about mismanagement, Mr. Speaker. You talk about mismanagement. Huh? Can you believe this? Can you believe this man, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, in addition to that, right now we have incinerators. How much incinerators cost? To facilitate T.O.A. King, he built a bypass road for $15 million. He spent $13 million on his incinerators that never worked. He had to buy other land that cost another $15 million. And today, the taxpayers are paying approximately $100,000 every month to transport garbage from Viewfort to Deglo at the hands of no other than this leader of the opposition when he was Prime Minister. So if he speaks to mismanagement, Mr. Speaker, he holds the reign, he holds the crown in both deceit and mismanagement. I just felt, Mr. Speaker, I should put that on the record. Thank you very much.
Member for Viewfort North.
Mr. Speaker, merci Achai. Aujourd'hui, c'est jour international créole. Avec moi, je veux dire tout le monde, bonne fête créole internationale. Nous sommes chaque pays, au lieu de la terre, côté monde qui parle créole, Seychelles, à Kawaïbla, là, nous comme pays. Avec nous-mêmes, ça va être ici, nous comptons créole, nous la vie nous c'est la vie créole. Et même si là il y a chaque monde qui croit créole c'est bagaille gens pauvres, créole c'est bagaille j'habitation, mais la vie nous-mêmes là il y a bagaille yo ka couiller à l'anglais rhythm of life. La vie nous-mêmes ça nous manger, manière nous ka kachile, ni un chay pour faire avec langage nous lever avec. Parce que moi je souhaiter tout le monde en Kaila ici en Parlement, Jean constituency Vieux for North, et tous ces gens qui organisent FRC, CDF, Ministry of Creative Industries, tous ces gens qui célèbrent la journée créole dimanche avec moi assuré qui à chaque côté, à chaque tambour bat, à chaque bagaille, extrêmement belle vie, Vieux for North. So moi je souhaite tout le monde bonne journée créole. But Mr. Speaker, the leader of the opposition spoke of the health and security levy and that health care, based on what he said, I interpreted it to mean that it is his view that health care did not receive support from the health and security levy, and as a result, he states there are so many issues with certain programs. I want, Mr. Speaker, to reiterate that the health and security levy raises about $36 million at best. And I want to give you an example of some of the things we funded with the health and security levy in part. And Mr. Speaker, I want to compare our performance with the performance of the last government. I listened to the former permanent secretary, who is now a candidate for Denry South, and he spoke about the whole issue of health insurance and what they would have done or could have done or what they wanted to do with health insurance, and a whole barrage about health and the Ministry of Health, things have never been worse, and so on. Now, Mr. Speaker, if the gentleman had not put his head in the ring, in the political ring, then you could allow that to pass. But as a result of his utterances, Mr. Speaker, I have had many days and nights of research of documents that he himself signed as permanent secretary. He served as the permanent secretary with me for a few months when I became Minister for Health. And I want the whole world to know that I have every single document that he signed. And I have every single document chastising him and the performance, even if it's not him directly, but programs that he managed. And I have those documents from the international community, and I will not refrain from making them public. Because in this business, Mr. Speaker, when public officers who served the public at one point in time, they swore to confidentiality, they swore to do the best for their ministry, and then simply because you have joined the political fray, you are now talking as if your colleagues, your former colleagues, who are now permanent secretaries or who are now officers in the ministry, are the worst ever, simply because you have joined the UWP. Well, Mr. Speaker, I will take my time, not today, not all of it today, but I'll take my time to unravel the nasty and dirty skin that he has found himself in now in the UWP. And I will do it with facts and with documents. So this man who is running for UWP in Denry South, who now has every dirty and nasty thing to say about the officers in the Ministry of Health, I will unravel his skin, skin by skin, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, I simply want at this time to speak about our record. And while they were busy frolicking with horses in air-conditioned offices in Vieux, they could have used that money to do some of the basic things that we have done since July 2021. Since July 2021, when we came into office, in the middle of the COVID pandemic, when the Delta variant was wreaking havoc throughout St. Lucia, the Caribbean, and the world, we came into government, and with the assistance of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, I will just tell you a few things a few things we've done to make the lives of St. Lucians better. And I heard this criticism about the 80+ program. And I've said so publicly before. We have instituted the 80+ program at the primary centers, the health centers and the polyclinics. And yes, this program has not been perfect. It has not been perfect. We have had teething problems. We have had times when our patients go to the hospitals and so on. And we have had occasions when we've had to order medications from other sources. Yes, I have never said publicly that everything is perfect. But what I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, every time they speak about health, I ask them, what did you do when you were there? You speak about 80+ program, but when you were Prime Minister, what did you do for them? Individuals who are 80 years and over, when we look at the records, they were spending collectively over $2.7 million at the health centers. And I want people to understand that it is not everything at the health centers they were getting for free. There were certain services and certain items you had to pay for. $2.7 million a year. We removed that burden from them. What did you do when you were in government for them? And that is the question. So, while we have instituted new programs, you are criticizing these programs. But when you were there, you did not do any of this. You did not do any of it. And you are now coming to criticize what we have started that you did not do. Là, you avez un gouvernement, Mr. Speaker. You can dit, nous avons fait bagay by grand moun et nous pas faire tout partout. Là, you avez un gouvernement, qui ça yo fait by ces grand moun? Qui ça yo fait by yo? Rien. You avez vieux fort qui pomné cheval, qui mette cheval air condition office, a stable air condition. C'est ça you avez fait. Qui ça yo te fait by ces grand moun pour y mettre yo? Et moi qui a toujours dit comme ministre, moi qui a toujours dit comme ministère, qui c'est pas tout bagay qui s'en sauve. Nous avons développé toujours. Ce n'est pas tout programme là, comme tout bagay peut ou fait. Mais nous savons tuer, Mr. Speaker, qui nous a fait un chai pli bagay, passé yote jamais fait, là yote en gouvernement. When we speak of the health and security levy, Mr. Speaker, their budget to the Victoria Hospital moving into the OKEU Hospital was $31.3 million. $31.3 million. Over time, what have we done? What has this Minister for Finance done? He has increased it, the budget to the OKEU Hospital, to the Millennium Heights Medical Complex, to $70 million. $70 million, Mr. Speaker. What have we done? We have increased the budget. The Minister for Finance has increased the budget to the Ministry of Health to the largest amount of money ever. $202 million in the last budget. What have we done? Mr. Speaker, the difference between the last government and this government is this. When the member for Vieux-Fort South was Prime Minister, he actually allocated money in the budget to rebuild and rehabilitate the Laurentius Wellness Center. When they came into government, they spent 5 years and over. Exe Jean Laurentius denri nof la. Yo pa wonje yo pa wibati health center Laurentius la. C'est ek l'argent te la. C'est moun sa la selewa, Mr. Speaker. Yo selewa. A bagay kon health center. Ek jodi a zo kavin parle about santé. Zo wete en office pli passé 5 l'année. L'argent te la. Dr. Kenny Anthony, même Parlement for Vieux-Fort South, quitter l'argent obligé à Bayzot. Ils ont fait passer 5 années. Ils n'ont pas fait rien dans les health center là, juste là. Ils ont sans honte qu'à venir ici à parler about santé. Here's the difference. We came into government and we promised the people of Dennery North that we would rebuild the health center. Allez la ressource Zodia depuis l'année avant. Là, il y a un health center qui a l'hôpital même à la Richous. That's the difference. What are we doing? That is the difference, Mr. Speaker. Rehabilitation of Delse, Vanna, Lafag, Richfond, Denry Hospital, Grosile Polyclinic, Dr. Betty Wells Urban Polyclinic, the secondary care wing of the OKEU at the Old Victoria Hospital. What have we done? And in every one of these facilities, you will see improved services, improved diagnostic capability. You go to the Soufre Hospital, you will see, since we came in, improved diagnostic capability. And who is it benefiting? The people of St. Lucia. The people of St. Lucia. Mr. Speaker, nous pas pour tirer métier en les affaires santé. Nous pas ni pour faire ça. Parce que nous savons, ce n'est pas toute bagaille en santé qui a été sauve. Ce n'est pas toute bagaille qui peut ou fait. Mais pour essayer de faire mon quoi qui nous pas qu'à faire rien en santé. C'est moun savent mais. C'est moun savent mais. C'est moun savent là yo en gouvernement qui manière l'hôpital Soufouye teye. Et c'est moun savent à besoin soit aller à l'hôpital Soufouye avec l'année chay moun public qui vient aider en affaire ça là. Et nous voulons remercier yo. Venir avec le gouvernement et soit aller là où qualité bagay là nous ka faire l'hôpital Soufouye. The diagnostic capability and so on, Mr. Speaker. And we continue to advance the provision of services in healthcare. And tomorrow morning at 10:30 in the morning, we will go to the Victoria Hospital site to have a formal ceremony to rename the Victoria Hospital site to the Sir Winston Paris Medical Complex. And it's a work in progress. Maintenant, Adam, c'est flambeau, Mr. Speaker, qu'a dit, ou pas ça, travail à la place, si whole place là pas manger. Nonsense. They left the people in the Castries Health Center as a place in Castries that was deemed unsafe. A place that was deemed unsafe for the nurses, the doctors, and the patients. For years, there are reports. But the last government, what did they do? They left the people in there. All kinds of air quality issues. We decided we're going to do something about it. And we started to transform the Victoria Hospital buildings. And if you go there now, since last year, the Dr. Betty Wells Urban Polyclinic is providing services, improved services to the people of St. Lucia. And what are we going to do next? We have gutted the accident and emergency building. We have gutted it. And we are going to build a brand new accident and emergency service there, a building there with new services. We are going to improve the Francis Dalto building. And we are going to have a state-of-the-art facility which was once Victoria Hospital. It will be the Sir Winston Paris Medical Complex. Improved services. The Babuno Wellness Center. The Fouasson Wellness Center. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? He was Prime Minister. He was Prime Minister in his own constituency. He was a Prime Minister, you know. You should have seen the state of the Deriso Wellness Center, Mr. Speaker. And he was Prime Minister. What did we do? We came into government, rehabilitated the Deriso Wellness Center, and renamed it the Lilia Haraksing Wellness Center, Mr. Speaker. The Viewfort Wellness Center, we did work on the Viewfort Wellness Center when we came into government. We had so many leaks in the wellness center. The nurses and the doctors had to evacuate from this room to that room. That's what we found when we came into government. We had to close the wellness center for weeks in Vieux-Fort to rehabilitate the wellness center. Things are much better now, Mr. Speaker. The levy. The same levy they're talking about. And Mr. Speaker, although our dream is to see Vieux-Fort with a brand new polyclinic, not just a wellness center, because the St. Jude Hospital, all our hospitals need to be reserved for secondary care, emergency care, and so on. In Vieux-Fort, that wellness center in Vieux-Fort, the space doesn't allow us too much expansion and so on. So in the coming period, we are going to speak with the parliamentary representatives, speak with the DCA and so on, to see if we can get a site with more space, so we can have ambulance bays and so on, so we can have a top-class polyclinic for Vieux-Fort, so that even though we are rehabilitating and we are bringing you a brand new St. Jude Hospital, we also need a high-level polyclinic in Vieux-Fort. The Comfort Bay Senior Citizens Home. When we got into government, Mr. Speaker, some of the basic pieces of equipment were not there at the Comfort Bay Senior Citizens Home. Not there. And there are so many of them. Some basic pieces of equipment we had to put over there. The St. Jude Hospital, you know about that in itself. Mr. Speaker, we continue to work and await this fateful and joyous day. Mr. Speaker, we increased the budget for pharmaceuticals. Although we continue to have a challenge, but this Prime Minister has allocated much more money for the purchasing of pharmaceuticals in our health system. And I can go on and on. The National Eye Clinic. The National Eye Clinic. We came in and we thank our brothers and sisters from Cuba for all of what they have contributed to this medical system here in St. Lucia. And the eye clinic, we found that we needed to improve the eye clinic. So what did we do? We created the National Eye Clinic with the Cuban, what we used to call the Cuban Friendship Service, and also the Diabetic Retinopathy Service, put them together, and now we have a National Eye Clinic. If you go to the National Eye Clinic now, at the Old Victoria Hospital, you will see a brand new operating theater, brand new equipment, brand new surgical equipment. The top of the line equipment is now being used, and we have recommenced surgeries for close to 3 weeks now. We were always having visits by St. Lucians, but we have recommenced surgeries, and St. Lucians are now having their surgeries done at the National Eye Clinic. What are we doing with the levy? You want me to tell you more? I do plea. We started universal health coverage, to implement universal health coverage. And there's this whole hue and cry about, oh, universal health coverage doesn't make sense, and now they go on to compare universal health coverage to national health insurance. Mr. Speaker, I don't know who's advising them. It must be the one who was the PS. And if the one who was the PS was advising them well, he would tell them that there's no reason to compare universal health coverage to national health insurance, because national health insurance can be one of the tools or methods to achieve universal health coverage. So they go on to compare as if universal health coverage and national health insurance are two things that can be compared. They don't even understand the concepts, Mr. Speaker. National health insurance is just a way of health financing. Universal health coverage is a totally different concept, which is creating greater access, higher quality, equity, at lower out-of-pocket costs. That's what universal health coverage means. So anything you do in the health system, anything at all, that can do that, lower out-of-pocket costs, increase access, and give people more benefits, then you have a universal health coverage system. And what you need to do is to have proper financing for it. And if you want to talk about national health insurance, then that is a method that can finance universal health coverage. But they're all around talking, comparing national health insurance to universal health coverage. They don't even know what they're talking about, Mr. Speaker. And that is why they failed. And they come to you and tell you, oh, everybody will get a card with $75,000. Bluff! Bluff, Mr. Speaker. In their own discussions with the insurance companies, they guaranteed them and they told them they will ensure that every St. Lucian who can buy health insurance, they'll make them pay for health insurance. But they come now to tell you everybody will get a card, it's $75,000. They never had any conclusions on national health insurance, none whatsoever. Just like so many governments, they were having discussions. You got Alexa, avant election, you got Kuitu Patu in May of 2021, talking to health insurance companies, seeing what they can get to try to bluff the people of St. Lucia. So they had no conclusion. They were talking to health insurance companies. And the health insurance companies gave them the premiums. And that is why I came with my $300 and something million a year. That's why they can't stand up and refute it. I wish one of them would. I wish one of them would. Their plan does not make any sense. And their plan to give every St. Lucian a card with $75,000 has nothing to do with universal health coverage. How are you going to increase access? How are you going to deal with the health information system? In St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker, and that is what we are working to solve. If you go to a health center in VA4 in the morning and something happens, you travel to your friend's home in Castries and then you go to the OKEU. The doctor at the OKEU or the nurse would have to almost, in triage, almost question you and start all over again. Almost all over again. That should not be. The health information system should provide medical professionals a one-stop view of what's happening to the patient, where you went to, what medications you've had. And these are the kinds of basic problems that we are trying to solve. What health information system are we going to use? So when they're talking about just give everybody $75,000, that's a bluff. Even in their own discussions, that is not what they promise the people. They are trying to fool St. Lucians. That's a bluff. And while you all are talking about national health insurance, let me just for a brief moment tell you what we have done. Not what we could do, or what we wanted to do, or what we're dreaming of doing, you know. I'll tell you what we have done, Mr. Speaker. They be say health you capable about. You pay mate, you pay dance, say coup yo, Mr. Speaker. Let me tell you what we've done, Mr. Speaker. Our programs have touched thousands of St. Lucians. In our maternal and childcare services, Mr. Speaker, 3,061 new pregnant women between 2023 and now have received services without any cost to them, Mr. Speaker. 3,061 women have had lab tests done without any cost to them. 4,504 ultrasounds were done on pregnant women without any cost to them. So while you all were importing horses, giving them plane rides with your partners, thousands of dollars, we are now using the taxpayers' money on the St. Lucians, Mr. Speaker. That's the difference. Prostate cancer. And these are all new services. From December 2024 to now, Mr. Speaker, the men were slow in coming, but now they're coming rapidly. Thank you, men, and let's continue. We have done over 1,044 PSA tests free of charge for men. That was not there before. So while you all are telling the young men in Piero that they are criminals, that's what you all are telling them at your public meetings. Calling the young men of Piero criminals. You got to say, "Jeune nom Piero are criminal." You got your, if you snitch, you slide, you slip. The UWP. The UWP. While they are telling the men in Piero Vieux North that they are criminals, and while they are telling people you need bulletproof vests to go and play basketball, why they're telling the men that, yeah, in Bagatelle, our government is encouraging men to do their prostate tests, do your PSA tests. And we are paying for it. We are paying for it. That's the difference between you That's the difference between you and us. That's where the money goes. And what about breast cancer? And I'm so proud of my colleagues, Mr. Speaker. We have our pink ribbons. Breast cancer awareness. While they were blaming single mothers for breeding criminals. That's the attitude, Mr. Speaker. We are encouraging all women and men to do their breast examinations, and men too, because 1 to 2% of men do get breast cancer. Men also get breast cancer. So while they are criticizing men and women, we are encouraging them to do their tests. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? This government has caused there to be 2 mammography machines in our public hospitals, one at St. Jude, one at OKEU, Mr. Speaker. That's where the money goes. When you talk about where the money goes, your money went in horses. Our money is going to the people of St. Lucia. So you know what, Mr. Speaker? While they are there criticizing people, calling them lazy and all kinds of things in the constituencies, our women are going for the mammograms, Mr. Speaker. Between July and September, just July to September of this year, over 178 women got their mammograms done. Between July and September. In the public sector, at the hospitals. So if you want to speak against that, that's up to you. You should be encouraging your relatives and your constituents to go get their breast examined. I hope as you all are going house to house, you all are telling your constituents of the good work of this government and encouraging the men to do their PSAs, because the Labour Party government is giving it free. That's what you have to do. Sure. That's what you have to do. We also conducted breast ultrasounds during that same time. And you know what, Mr. Speaker? If it is found that there is an issue, or there may be an issue, even the biopsies that we are doing free of charge, we are not charging our ladies, even the biopsies, Mr. Speaker. For cervical cancer, the same thing. With our new technique and so on, from August 2024 to August 2025, over 4,780 women, over 4,780 women. So when you are there asking for our leader to be flogged and asking for us to be flogged, we are there assisting our women, Mr. Speaker. 4,780 women have been screened. And you know what? When the women are screened and our doctors determine that they need additional care, we take them further. And we have purchased new machines for examinations for our ladies, Mr. Speaker. Brand new machines. And you know what? We have referred since that time over 296 ladies for further attention. So they've done the screening, and over close to 300. Close to 300 have gone for further screening, free of charge, without cost. All of the guru you are. What were you doing all that time? That never used to exist before. There was the regular pap smear and so on, but we have a new liquid-based cytology technique, and we have colposcopy, and well, it's the doctors and the nurses in the ministry that tell you that. The doctors and the nurses who tell me that, and I trust them. So basically, Mr. Speaker, while they are out there criticizing, and we've said before, the health sector has problems. It has issues. There are challenges. But what you have to do, Mr. Speaker, is look at the pillars and compare what they did to what we are doing. Pillars that are agreed upon by the World Health Organization and by PAHO, Human Resources for Health. What did you do? We have trained so many professionals with cooperation with Martinique. And I really want to thank Dr. Dabo, Honorable Dr. Dabo Rizier. And his whole team. In cooperation with the city, with CHUM, University Hospital in Martinique, and all of the officials. Yes. And also, to ensure that we cleared the way for further cooperation, the Prime Minister went to Martinique himself and cleared the bill at CHUM, cleared the bill. So you can look at the pillars for health, of a health system. Okay? Look at the pillars and see what we are doing. When you look at the kind of cooperation we have with our local doctors, the kind of technology that our local doctors are using in St. Lucia. You know what this government has done? In our universal health coverage program, we have signed contracts with the private sector, the doctors, people with labs and so on, It's not just the hospitals that are working with us in universal health coverage. Yeah, so the money, the taxpayers' money, we are using the St. Lucians' money also in the private sector where we have St. Lucian doctors, St. Lucian labs, and they are all, that's what we are doing, bringing everyone together so we have a good health system. But let me tell you something else, Mr. Speaker. As if according to the member for Labrie, I can speak for 40 days and 40 nights about health. But just listen to that. In addition to maternal and child care, prostate cancer, cervical cancer, we have spoken about what our health centers are doing, like diabetes treatment, hypertension, the PBF program, which is something from the World Bank, which is a loan the last government took. The implementation of these things throughout some of our health centers, our nurses at the health centers, the health aides, the nursing assistants, all of these people are doing a phenomenal job, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that our health sector stands firm. But listen to this. In the past, before our government came in, Soute jwen morde par Fedelas. Fedelas is a poisonous snake. If you had a sacred but difficult encounter with the Fedelas, and you had gone to our hospitals, they would treat you, but most times you have secondary treatment. Sometimes people who got bitten by the Fedelas needed amputations. They needed surgeries. And you know what? They had to pay for it. I'll tell you something. Under this government, under universal health coverage, we have caused a system to exist where anybody in St. Lucia who gets bitten by a snake, anybody will not pay a cent for any procedure. And you know what? And we have calculated the cost. You know what it would cost someone who got bitten by a Fedelas? If it's just a basic encounter, a minor encounter, you'd probably have to spend about $2,200 at the hospital. That's before, eh? If it's an intermediate encounter, the snake bite, possibly the venom as you took too long and so on, it would cost you $5,900. If it's a very serious encounter with the ICU, you have to go to ICU and so on, it would cost you $12,300 in the hospital. This government is saying to the people of St. Lucia, n'importe moun qui joine piché par Fedelas, allez l'hôpital vitement parce que pas rien pour payer encore. Rien. And I can give you the cost, Mr. Speaker. So, the thing about it is that it's not perfect. It's not perfect, Mr. Speaker. We have work to do. We have work to do. But what we have demonstrated in this government is that we are willing to make the sacrifices, we are willing to put resources in the health sector that the last government did not do. And instead of doing that, we can show where they took the country's money and did a lot of other things with it. The $25 million we spent for the consultants to move over a hospital, can you imagine if we had that $25 million, what we would have done? Can you imagine? Who are the people who really moved the hospital? The St. Lucians, the same St. Lucian doctors are the ones who really moved the hospital, Mr. Speaker. And it is the same St. Lucian doctors and nurses and health aides, despite all the challenges in the hospitals, it is with these same people we are going to work to continue to improve the health services in St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker. So I want to say to you, I thank the Prime Minister and I thank the comrades and colleagues in the cabinet who are really assisting with this health challenge. We have our challenges, but we are willing to demonstrate what we have done. Demonstrate what we have done. Just yesterday, I was at a ceremony with a member of parliament for Denry North and the Minister for Education. And do you know what, Mr. Speaker? We noticed there's a problem with nursing. Shortage of nursing. Of nurses, sorry. Shortage of nurses. And you know what? Our government has demonstrated that it's willing to take action to encourage the nurses. And a nurse who's in year 1 will get $2,500 from us. Year 2, $2,500. Year 3, $5,000. And year 4, $10,000. And you know what? And they need no guarantors. Woo. No guarantors. All the nonsense they're talking about free education. All the nonsense they're talking, Mr. Speaker. In that time, they were gurus. They had big managers of the economy, top business people. Zopasho say Nosla. You all did not remember there were nursing students who were struggling. You all didn't remember. Huh? All of the things you're talking about, you all fired the people in the NICE program. You all said 80% of them are Labour Party people. 90%. 90%. You all did not remember the people. We know that there is a problem with permanent positions in the Ministry of Health for doctors, DMOs, and so on and so on. We know that. We came in. There's a challenge. It's been so for years. What did we do? That's the thing, you know. The challenges are there. But what did they do and what are we doing? What did they do? They left it like that. And what have we done? We have confirmed about 14 positions, 14 in the ministry for doctors so that they're no longer on contract. There are 22 nurses in the ministry who are still on this 6-month, 1-year contract. And I know that the Ministry of the Public Service is finalizing all the arrangements because the Prime Minister pronounced in his policy debate that these nurses too will no longer be on contract, Mr. Speaker. No longer be on contract. So, for every single pillar in the health sector, I can tell you what our government has done. We have not done everything that we must do. But the journey will continue. After the next election, Mr. Speaker, the journey will continue. We are working on the financing model for universal health coverage. And no matter what you heard them say, no matter what you heard them say, the $75,000 they are talking about, that will not happen, and they know that's not what they want to do. They know it. Why do they know it? Because they told the insurance companies that that is not what they want to do. They told them otherwise, and now they're trying to fool the people. And they know they'll not challenge me on that, because right now I'm the Minister for Health. and I have the passwords to the files. So let the leader of the opposition, I want him to stand up and say the foolishness that the candidate for Denris House said. The foolishness he said. I want him to stand up and say, challenge me. Challenge me on that. When they were discussing with the insurance companies, they did not tell them that everybody in St. Lucia will get a $75,000 insurance card. That's a lie. They did not tell them that. They told them that they will ensure that every St. Lucian who can pay for health insurance, they're going to mandate them to pay for it. You hear that? You hear that? I want him to stand up. I can sit. I invite him to stand to say that's not true. So I can read it. I can read it. Jean Saint-Lucie. That's important, you know, because they say we're on the campaign trail. We even start, that's just trailers, you'll see there. We ain't start the campaign yet. That's just trailers. And the star boy for the movie ain't even really started. The member for Cast Resist.
Just put his tie. Just put his Creole tie.
That's just trailers.
Just put his Creole tie.
Jean Saint-Lucie. You can buy chaque Jean Saint-Lucie en card qui est $75,000 assurance. Moi vle dou yo ka menti ba ou. Parce que moi savent ça yo te dit c'est compagnie insurance là yo te ka parler ba yo. Ek là yo te ka parler ba c'est Jean Insurance là. Yo di yo tout Jean pays Saint-Lucie qui sa payé pour insurance, yo ka assuré qui yo payé pour insurance là. Oui. Yo ka forcer yo make sure tout gens Saint-Lucie qui sa payé pour insurance, yo ka fait yo payer pour insurance. So you can mati ba ou, le yo do, oh, everybody, tout moun ka just near cut for $75,000. And I will say, just 2 more minutes, Mr. Speaker. I will say to you that if the government, the last government, or in their dreams, they were thinking of that, the premium for one person in St. Lucia would have been, based on their discussions, $2,017 per year for one person. Tell him stand up and say I lie. If you multiply 2017 by the population of St. Lucia, you'll get a premium of over close to $370 million. They're about 360 something. If they had gone for the family would have been $5,543 per year. There are about 65,000 families in St. Lucia based on the data. 65,600 and something. And if you multiply that, you'll get the same, a little more, or $370 million. So 400 million. If you add that to the budget of the Ministry of Health, that's not coming from the Ministry of Health budget, you know. If you add that to maintenance of hospital, maintenance of this, maintenance of that, you're pretty close to $500 million or $600 million. But they're not telling the people, how they're going to raise that money. So they're just telling people $75,000. May you mati, you can try bluff. You mati. And I just want to give you a glimpse of what is different with us. Here is what's different with us. We have said that we are going to create a universal health coverage authority, a statutory organization. And what will that do? That statutory organization is going to help manage systems, financial systems, supply chain. And that statutory organization will cause us to ensure that the whole health system is managed and that the government will pay for an essential package of health services, basic package of health services for all St. Lucians. And if the government pays for an essential package of health services, it would now incentivize the insurance companies to give more competitive packages, lower rates, because they may not have to deal with the essential package of health services. So they would now have to deal with secondary, catastrophic, and tertiary care. That's what it is. That's the difference between them and us. And I'm waiting for them to try to say it's the same thing as they're saying. It's not. Coulda, woulda. So Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that we are very focused on what we're doing. Very focused on what we're doing. Health systems and healthcare, very challenging in all countries. Very challenging. But in the 4 years, we can show you we have brought in new services, we have repaired countless health centers, we have rehabilitated hospitals, new St. Jude Hospital, and we are bringing in services that will ensure that our health system is much better as we continue down the road. I'm not going to talk about their neglect and what they did there and didn't do there. I'm not going to talk about that. Because our job is to ensure that we make life better for the people of St. Lucia. And every single day, that's what we're doing. Every single day.
A lot of new ambulances they get.
And just one last thing, Mr. Speaker. I want to tell members opposite. The member for Choiseul and the member for Micoud South. Do not call the young people of Vieux-Fort North criminals. Stop it. Do not continue to encourage your party.
Member for Choiseul Saltibus.
Mr. Speaker, on a point of order, member is misleading. I take umbrage to his statement that the member for Choiseul is calling the members of Vieux-Fort North criminals. And I think I can speak to the member for Micoud South.
What's that?
He needs to retract that statement.
What I said?
You said that the member of Choiseul is calling the young men of criminal, young people of criminal, of your constituency criminals.
No, I didn't say
I take objection to that. I have never said that.
No. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Member for Vieux-Fort North, you may have phrased it badly, but that is how it came out.
Okay. Well, Mr. Speaker, let me rephrase it. Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage the member for Choiseul and the member for Micoud South and their compatriots or whoever they mix with when they come to campaign in Vieux-Fort North. Do not, when they come to campaign, I didn't say you, it came out badly, but I'm rephrasing. When you all come to Vieux-Fort North to campaign, do not call the young men of Vieux-Fort North criminals. Members of your team have done it before, and they continue to try to label the young men of Piero as criminals, would-be criminals. Do not label my people as criminals. In every constituency, we have individuals who have broken the law. Some of them have paid their due. They've gone to prison, they've come back, they're working. And if there's someone who has done something that needs the law to take care of them, they will do it. But don't try to win elections by calling our people criminals and disparaging our people. We know how to take care of that in Vieux-Fort North, and we will do so expeditiously when the voting day comes. We are going to do so with ballots in the ballot box. But it is not good. It is not good for you to try to create an impression that our people are criminals. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion, and I just tried to give you a little peek into some of what the 2.5% levy has done for the Ministry of Health and for the health sector. It's always easy. It's always easy to say, this one did not get a plaster there, this one did not get the medicine, and therefore the health sector is bad. It's always easy to say that. But I want to thank the medical professionals, the people who work in the Ministry of Health, all those private sector doctors who are assisting us when we need their hand of assistance. Everybody, those from overseas, Honorable Dr. Dabo Rizia and the whole team, the Cubans, the Taiwanese, everybody who's assisting us, I want to thank you. And when we get back into office, whoever is the Minister for Health will continue on this journey of putting people first and ensuring that we do better than you could ever do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Finance Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy that the Minister of Health gave us, I know, Mr. Speaker, it's very important that the people of St. Lucia hear these things, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, United Workers' Party and the leader in particular makes it his duty to go out there and mislead the people of St. Lucia. This morning, you heard him say that when the Health and Security Levy was enacted, it was enacted for 2 years. He said, I said so. He said, the law said so. One, if the law said that the Health and Security Levy was enacted for 2 years, you take the government to court on that matter. Take the government to court. Now, Mr. Speaker, let me, and you know, Mr. Speaker, this gentleman believes that he has some God-given right to tell people whatever they want and they must believe in. And even when you catch him, he denies, even though you catch him, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have the documents that set up the Health and Security Levy. Budget address, 25th April 2023. And all the researchers, Mr. Speaker, are able to listen. Health and Security Levy. Starting from 1st July, can I quote, Mr. Speaker, from the budget address of 2023? A document that how to be wanted. Page 65, researcher. Starting from 1st July 2023, we shall impose a health and security levy of 2.5% on goods and services, except on food items, medicines, selected building materials, medical equipment, and security equipment. The levy will be implemented to have a minimum inflationary impact and avoid any additional administrative burden and cost to businesses. Mr. Speaker, let me be very clear. This levy will not be imposed on any food items. This means, Mr. Speaker, that the cost of food should not change because of the levy. I'm urging the private sector to work with the government to ensure that this measure is not used as a basis for increasing the price of food. Mr. Speaker, we expect, Mr. Speaker, that as freight charges come down, food prices and the price of other imported items will also decrease. Budget statement. Not one word of 2 years.
Where you get it from? Where you get it from?
Health and Security Levy Act.
You see the law, sir?
Number 16 of 2023.
Lies.
Nowhere in that document, nowhere does it has a sunset clause, as the Minister of for Labor likes to say. There is nowhere in that document, nowhere in that document you can find a sunset clause. Further, Mr. Speaker, he said, you heard him this morning, he said we apply the Health and Security Levy after the VAT. Right or wrong? Section 10(2). A registered person shall apply the levy before charging the value added tax under the Value Added Tax Act. The law. There is no way. There is no law. There is nothing that says that the Health and Security Levy was ever 2 years. When they asked me, the Health and Security Levy, they asked me whether I'd have a separate account for it. I said, no, it will go into the consolidated fund, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, the leader of the opposition must stop doing that. He must stop it. He gets up and he says things with his accent on all kinds of things, Mr. Speaker, and they are not true. There is no basis in truth, researcher. There is no basis in truth for this statement, Mr. Speaker. Further, Mr. Speaker, he speaks about health care. I want him to tell this honorable House, compare the cost of health care in St. Lucia and the cost of health care where he gets his medical treatment. The cost of health care, Mr. Speaker. Health care, Mr. Speaker. The same test you get in St. Lucia for $75 EC. In the US, Mr. Speaker, it costs $250 US for the same care, Mr. Speaker. Further, Mr. Speaker, you cannot go to the US or England and just walk in and see a specialist. There is a long waiting list, Mr. Speaker, to see a specialist in the US or in England, Mr. Speaker. Further, Mr. Speaker, the long lines that exist in the healthcare system in these islands. Every country in the world, Canada, the US, Obamacare up to today is being debated in the US, Obamacare. Up to today is being debated. In England, the health system is in a quandary because of the cost of health care, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, they come here and they behave as if St. Lucia is a place just there and things were good and it just got bad in 2021, Mr. Speaker. Then he uses strong words, betrayal, deceit, Mr. Speaker. This leader of the opposition, when he was Prime Minister, he put 150 on the cost of gas, and the gas analysts talk about it. He put 150 on the cost of gas, and he said that this gas 150 would have gone in a lockbox. He said it would be in a lockbox to fix the roads. I want you to ask him, where is the lockbox and how much money is in that lockbox for the 150 he put on gas? Where is that lockbox? He did it. Now, they talk about gas prices. You see, Mr. Speaker, I have sat very quietly because it's the habit of underestimating me. It's the habit of saying piece of cake, yeah. It's the habit. It's all the time. They sit in their things and they try to denigrate me. It's a habit, Mr. Speaker. I'll tell you something. The cost of fuel in St. Lucia is $16 per gallon, not $16.50. $16 per gallon. The subsidies on the 20-pound cylinder and the 22-pound cylinder, Mr. Speaker, I want you to look at the cross subsidies beyond gas and LPG. Look at the cross subsidy. When you begin to do the maths, when you begin to do the analyze it, let's analyze it, Mr. Speaker. Then further, look at the VAT in St. Lucia and the VAT in the other countries that you compare it with. The VAT rate in St. Lucia is 12.5%. Look at the VAT in the other countries that you compare the price of gas on. When you have that, when you analyze it, let's come and have a discussion on gas prices. That's how we discuss. Because I know, Mr. Speaker, they know better. And it's very sad, Mr. Speaker, when professionals, Mr. Speaker, I have never, and I raise my hand, I'm no economist. So I don't profess to be any economist. All I am is a politician who people have elected 6 times and who wants to improve the quality of life of the people of this country. That's all I am. What I want to say, Mr. Speaker, is you must never compromise your professional integrity on the altar of political expediency. Because, Mr. Speaker, I can say to these young men and women, they have to live a life after politics. There's a life after politics. There's a life after politics. There are some people who have their lives after politics is well buttered. So they don't need it. They have their life after politics well stacked away. But there are other people who, like me, we have to hustle for our life after. We have our life before, during, and after politics. So you must never allow any. And I tell all these young politicians, never compromise your integrity. Never make unnecessary enemies because of politics, Mr. Speaker. Because don't let anybody use you so that they can reach their goal, Mr. Speaker. And it's very sad when I see people who know better fall in this trap of deceit, Mr. Speaker. You talk about taxes. This government has given the largest tax amnesty in the history of St. Lucia's economy. Talking about taxes, Mr. Speaker, we waived all the taxes before 2000. We said forget it. And up to now, Mr. Speaker, all the interest and penalties on every tax item, we've said if you pay what you owe, we waived it, Mr. Speaker. So when you're looking about taxes, talk about the tax amnesties that we have introduced for the people of St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker. We said, Mr. Speaker, to the people of St. Lucia that we will find ways to improve, to increase their disposable income, Mr. Speaker. But when you're talking about increasing disposable income, you must look at all the subsidies that the government has given, Mr. Speaker. The government has given, Mr. Speaker, the government has removed facility fees, helping income. The government has stopped the payment, and the mothers now who have to pay for the CXC, Mr. Speaker, they understand it in their pocket because right now they do not pay for 4 CXC subjects for the children, Mr. Speaker, helping them in their pockets, Mr. Speaker. The mothers who paid facility fees, they don't have to pay it again, and you have the audacity to come and say that this country has never been as difficult as it is now. And they go at everybody's home, Mr. Speaker. Knock, knock, knock. Who is there? So, Mr. Speaker, when they use words as betrayal and deceit, Mr. Speaker, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror, Mr. Speaker, and talk about betrayal and deceit. Don't use these words. Don't use these words. Make your point, but don't use it. Because anything you say about deceit or betrayal can come back and hit you right in your face, Mr. Speaker. Right in your face. Mr. Speaker, this leader of the opposition went on public radio and he said that members of the party should be flogged. Yes. Flogged. And one of his acolytes said the same thing. He never came and said, do not say that. Never. He said that Philip J. Pierre should be flogged on Columbus Square. You don't know what I flog? I flog poverty. I flog hatred. That's what I flog. I just flog people. And I never will ask that people to be flogged. I will never ask people to be flogged. Because people are people, regardless of their political persuasion. They are people. You don't ask them to be flogged. And then when it backfires, I love Labour Party people. That's the bluff. I'm not angry. I said, fashe! And you must be angry. You must be angry. Why aren't you angry? But I love Labour Party people. Mr. Speaker, they're calling for elections. I'll call it. An election's too serious to ring any bell. Bell is Papi show. We're not ringing no bell for no elections. We call elections like conscious and confident men and women. We are ringing no bell. Bell is nonsense. Bell is when you tell people when at home your mother tell you time for lunch, ring a bell, bling, bling, bling. So elections are too serious to deal with a bell, Mr. Speaker. So do not call for elections. Don't cry for elections, Mr. Speaker. You see, Mr. Speaker, I tell something. This leader of the opposition looked, use my words carefully, looked to increase his 5-year period to a longer period, Mr. Speaker, on the excuse that COVID had affected him. You will believe that COVID only affected St. Lucia. You will believe that there was COVID only in St. Lucia, Mr. Speaker. This economy declined by 21%. It was the 6th highest decline in the world under his management. Under his management. The 6th largest decline in the world. St. Lucia was the highest indebted country in the OECS after COVID. We had the highest debt after COVID. Talk about management of the economy. Mr. Speaker, yes, check the ECCB. It had the highest, St. Lucia had the highest debt. Wait, the highest debt. Highest debt, Mr. Speaker. The highest debt, Mr. Speaker, after COVID. The highest debt, Mr. Speaker. And you know, Mr. Speaker, what he does, Mr. Speaker, what he does is that he believes he can frighten you and shout at you because he wants you to submit. But we are submitting. We're not submitting, Mr. Speaker. He wants you to shout at you and because he believes he can frighten you. He can't frighten nobody. He believes he can threaten you and say he'll do this, he'll do that. But you see, from now on, Mr. Speaker, we are going to deal with all these lies and that misinformation. From now on. Because we were in the business of running the country. But you every day, this and that, lies. They attack journalists, they attack everybody else, they attack law and order. The highest rate of murder was in the year 2017 when he was Prime Minister. The biggest increase in murder in murder was between 2020 when he was Prime Minister. Talk about crime. These statistics will show you. Because you know, Mr. Speaker, it is time that we begin to expose these guys for what they are. Because they've been all over the country lying and accusing people. Okay, this and that. No proof. Can never show a piece of paper with any proof, Mr. Speaker. Everything I say are proof. Health and security levy, show it. Budget, show it, Mr. Speaker. We're going to show it then. Next thing he talks about, the health and security levy was for a loan from the CDB. Mr. Speaker, this is the gentleman. This is the gentleman who, to get the public policy loan, had to pass several pieces of legislation. Legislation that is up now flawed. Public procurement bill, public finance management bill. Tell the IMF, tell the thing that he will increase revenue. But comes to the public and pretends that to have any conditionalities for any loan. No conditionalities. Man, you know, Mr. Speaker, and the sad thing is there are people who repeat that who know better. They know better, Mr. Speaker. They know that all these loans have conditionalities, Mr. Speaker. So we are ready. And all the noise, all the attacks, all the talk shows, all the lies will not stop us, Mr. Speaker, from saying to the people of St. Lucia what is true and what is not true, Mr. Speaker. And the same way, in 2021, they said, you can never win. Pierre can never be Prime Minister. Can never win. Never. They were laughing. The same thing this time. You can never win. How much? I'm not going to say that. All I'm saying to you is the people of St. Lucia will not be fooled again. the people of St. Lucia will not allow. This guy went on public television in the States and said he was building how many islands? 21 islands. And there was investment in the country of $3 billion. The lady said, 3 billion? He said, yes. She said, 3 billion? He said, yes. Mr. Speaker, members to support that bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I beg that this House stands suspended until 4 p.m.
Leader of Government Business, would you mind if I just put the question on the motion first, and then you, okay. Honourable members, the question is that Parliament, by affirmative resolution, approves the draft Health and Security, Citizen Security Levy Amendment of Schedule 3, order to amend Schedule 3 of the Act by an affirmative resolution of Parliament to include the following 2022 Harmonized Commodity Description and Coding System, codes and corresponding descriptions for the goods listed in Item 2 of Part 1. Coniferous, non-coniferous, other, pitch pine, Caribbean cedar, Cedria adorata, other with at least one outer ply of non-coniferous wood of the species Alder, Alnus spp, Ash, Fraxinus spp, Beech, Fagus spp, Birch, Betula spp, Cherry, Prunus spp, Chestnut, Castanea spp, M, Ulmus spp, Equilapitus spp, Hickory, Kaya spp, Horse Chestnut, Aculus spp, Lime, Tilia spp, Maple, Acer spp, Oak, Quercus spp, Plane Tree, Platanus spp, Poplar and Aspen, Populus spp, Robina spp, Tulip Wood, Lyrhodendron spp or Walnut, Juglans spp, cellular wood panels, spools, caps, bobbins, sewing thread reels and the like, or turned wood. And now put the question, as many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I beg that this House stands suspended until 4 p.m.
Members, the question is that this House stands suspended until 4 p.m. And now put the question, as many as of that opinion say aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Sitting suspended until 4 p.m.
All rise.
Ok, à présent, Kai consiste debout pour un petit moment pour me supposer pour aller à déjeuner, mais il y a dévié si la motion, il y a dévié à 4 heures, il y a pas un petit pause, comme on dit. Durant ça, c'était la première session matin, qui tenait à chaque différentes interruptions avec Lyon, c'était pour la petite problème technique avec son micro qui pas de cas opérer bien. La tenue, il était un peu de deux coups. Et après ça, nous tenions l'autre interruption. Ça c'est on n'a pas parlé du débat, mais différentes choses. Et puis même pas pour Mittenville Cassé, ça c'est honorable Richard Frederick qui était parlé avec Assou affaires en vente, ça y est derrière mall en Gozile, en notre pays, avec M. Alain Chasney, honorable Alain Chasney, qui membre parlement pour soutenir Doubout, et aussi ses chefs face à l'opposition Doubout. Et pas d'accord, et puis c'est quand ça monsieur honorable Richard Tegadi. Alors il était la tenue à l'écassé avec yo Doubout, speaker Doubout session avec mandé pour puisque honorable Alain Chasney pas de cas aller il m'a dit pour Doubout, et bien Doubout ça a été dit puisqu'il était déjà fait ruling il a dit avait déjà un jugement à ce discussion, mais monsieur honorable Alain Chasney décidé pour continuer sans Doubout, alors il fait même micro avec ça c'était un cause de petits problèmes, mais après ça session continue côté yo passé 5 c'est 4 motions à présent avec c'est différentes motions comme on dit. Yon c'était pour acheter pour tirer taxe en les VAT à ce monde qui voulait acheter et bien louer ça veut dire créer avion et bien bâtiment pour aider puis ça c'est voyage à Caraïbes la plus fait plus à l'aise aussi là c'est aussi en motion pour gouvernement tirer taxe à ce équipement pour autorité management Zordis là ça c'est mon qui est responsable pour management Zordis Sainte-Lucie pour yo acheter équipement pour aider yo manager Zordis primaire. Alors il a demandé pour ça aussi là aussi signé en résolution pour tirer taxe à sous ça c'est membre parlement qui électé, ça c'est membre parlement qui électé, bah yo opportunité pour acheter matériaux et bien bagay yo besoin pour saison là pour peut-être passer avec la famille avec maman en particulier aussi pour monde Saint-Lucien qui a voué oui pour aider la famille en pays sortir l'autre pays so aussi ça c'est une qui a fait pour plusieurs années aussi là c'est aussi l'autre résolution pour gouvernement tirer ça a créé pour approuver ça c'est un amendement pour taxe, ça c'est les vies, ça a créé les vies, health and security, ça c'est santé et sécurité. Vous avez changé, après changer l'année passée, le gouvernement passé, loi ça là pour mettre en taxe en valeur c'est comment exactement, c'est des % à ce taxe pour aider pays et puis sécurité avec ça la tenir aller casser pas aller casser mais moi ça dit en chaque discussion à ce ça là avec nous aussi ni en l'autre résolution côté gouvernement ma motion pour gouvernement mettre taxe à ce en l'autre qui est venu tout à l'heure mais gouvernement à présent, il a déjà passé ces motions avec l'autre qui est resté pour faire, c'est ça qu'il a créé bills. Ces bills-là qui ont passé, les ont dévié après des gens, ces affaires records, ça c'est pour les gens qui n'y tâche, et bien ça il a créé à ce un bon livre, bagaille comme ça, pour le gouvernement qui a fait un amendement pour en réhabilitation, les gens qui allaient contre loi. Aussi, l'année, il y a passé un bill et bien loi à ça, il a créé public procurement avec ça c'est pour service avec marchandises qui en public qui le gouvernement a acheté, et aussi par Deputy Premier Ministre, c'est assistant Premier Ministre, qui a aussi passé à ce Tourism Development Amendment. C'est pour qui a fait touristes, situation touriste privée en tout partout en pays. Mais nous proposons avec exactement qui ça y est. Mais assistant Premier Ministre qui a dit nous aussi après-midi, il y a dévié, il a discuté. Ça veut dire que CIP a un changement pour ça, et aussi un agrément entre ces pays à sous affaires CIP. Et dernièrement, nous avons par Premier ministre, excusez-moi, c'est ministre pour les affaires services publics, les affaires travailler avec les affaires hommes et puis femmes, même parlement pour Babono, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, qui a présenté un bill à ce changement que le gouvernement a fait à ce loi qui a gouverné pension. Alors, nous avons invité pour rester puis nous, mais nous avons vu en studio pour à présent, mais qui a vu 4 comme qui étaient d'accord à suivre pour nous continuer et puis ça qui a passé en cas de cette liste.